Hello everyone, Mark here. Welcome back to my garage. So, I recently bought a Morse Taper 2 collet chuck set for the Super 7 or indeed the ML10 lathes. Now that's all well and good, however they require a M10 threaded drawbar to actually seat inside the spindle nose. Haha, giggity, everybody get that out of your system, okay. While this fairly, hopefully, short video will be about making said drawbar. Now it's going to be a little bit different to what most drawbars are, in that this one is going to be made basically around just a piece of stainless steel threaded bar and some stainless steel hardware, because, well, I didn't want to go to the hassle of trying to make an actual threaded thing that would then fit down one spindle that wouldn't then fit in the other, so I'd have to make two. And this way, the actual, if I make the bar long enough to fit through both lathes and just have a nut that's adjustable, it will then allow me to make sure that it's universal between both of my big lathes. So let's start off by taking some measurements of how long at maximum I need the threaded bar to be. Welcome to my Super 7 spindle. Now that's what you call a chat-up line. So basically, I'm going to take the lock out of the drive lock while I remember. So I don't risk starting this thing up with trying to start it up with the spindle lock engaged. I want to make a piece of threaded bar that is at least, I'd say, from there to the end of there. No, slightly more, because I need to get a nut on the end, you idiot. So, I only need to really do this by eye, because, like I said, this is going to be longer than it needs to be anyway, to accommodate for it being universal on two different lathes. So I'm thinking I'm going to cut my piece of threaded bar 32 centimetres long, which is just over 12.5 inches. So yeah, 32 sounds like a plan to me. It's a nice round number. I like the sound of 32 to me. So I will unpack my stainless steel bar that I got, and let's get it over in the vise and get it cut off. And there it is. Comes right through out the other side, which is grand. That's actually what I was after. So it gives me plenty of stick out on this end, because it appears there. So when you've got the length of the collet on, it'll be sticking out probably about this far over here. Just tilt you so you can see that. So as you can see, it'll come out to about here, more than likely, which is fine. I mean, I won't be able to open the gear chain cover with that like that, but on the other hand, why would you be opening this when it's running anyway? If you want to, because this is there's no gearbox on this lathe, you have to set everything up changing gears out, so it I wouldn't be fiddling in here with something fastened in the chuck anyway. So that is absolutely grand. That's super, nicely done. I've deburred the end as well, so not going to cut yourself open on that, and it should start nicely into the thread. Now this is the end that came from the factory, as you can see, because it's got the green bit on and a bit of a funky thread on the end of that. So I'll make that the closing nut, as it were, end of it. Make the end that I just cut and deburred the end that'll go into the back of the collet. So, next step is to basically try it out and see what happens, shall we? There we go, one of the collets. This happens to be a 5mm collet. Screwed onto the bar, nice and not too tight, but enough to lock it on there so it won't go nowhere. And on the bar, let's see how she goes, shall we? Well, she fits through the bar nicely, through the bore rather. Oh, look at that. Oh, that seats as well. I can't push that back again just from that little bit, so I'll take my soft blow and I can tap it free. Oh, that is champion, that. That is absolutely champion. Tell you what, let me grab a 5mm drill and see how it holds that. Now, in theory, the end of this drill, this end, the shank, should be 5mm. Let's check. And it is. Super. So let's try using this to chuck up a 5mm drill. I'll do that, and then stick a stainless washer over the end and a nut. Let's get that sorted. Get that there, and now let's just snug that up. Let's put the lock in for a minute so I can snug this up. That is rock solid now. Take the lock out. That's fantastic. Right, let's start up the lathe and see how she spins, shall we? So let me turn her on. Let's wait a sec for the VFD to turn on. That's hilarious, that the fan inside the VFD on this is louder than the motor when it's running, which is quite funny. So let's, the clutch is off at the moment. Let's, I'm going to try her at about half speed at the moment. So the motor is spinning. I've got the guard cover open at the back at the moment because you have to open the motor guard to be able to open the change wheel cover properly. And there she spins. That is sensational. That's beautiful, that is. Oh, that's nice. I'm happy with that. Let me bring you down so you're level with it so you can see that there's no run out in the shank at the back. So let's see if you can see that. I engage the clutch. If you're looking here at the base of the drill bit where it would have been ground to the right size. Now that's something special in my opinion. Sorry for the camera wobble there, guys. That is beautiful and true. Oh, I'm happy with that. I'm very happy with that. Okay, this is a shot of the back where I've got it currently. As you can see, there's a bit of flex on that bar at the moment. It hasn't tightened up centrally. So what I think I'm going to do is inside the bore, I'm going to make a spacer that's got an M10 thread on it. It threads onto the stainless bar. That then will run. I'll use that as like a jack point in the back end here to hopefully then keep that shaft then central in the bore, so it doesn't risk any weird whipping and vibration issues running at higher RPMs. But that I am super happy with. Okay, so I'm going to make little mandrels to turn down the width of the washer so it doesn't interfere with the drive gear mechanism at the back here. So what I'm doing is I've just taken a skim cut, got my depth, so that's now set. I now need to take another 0.5 millimetre, it's only 0.5 millimetre, off the outside of this, back by 2 millimetres. So this should be fun. Let's get this set, shall we? So let's back that out. Right, I can tell that's the edge of the work there. So that's there. Now I need to go back 2 mil. And 2 millimeters is a very small amount. Not as small as like thousandths or anything like that, but still a mighty small amount. Where it wants to be to there. There we go. I am clear. I'm just going to wind this in to make a mark at that line. Then let's take 5 thou to that shoulder. Wind her out. Let's get the washer. That to me is looking like it's going to be a beautiful fit. Right there. That is smashing. That's exactly what I was after. Super. Right. Now what I need to do is I need to just put this in here. So let's grab that hook. Let's make sure this actually works as I intend it to work. Okay, so I need to put the spacer in behind it. Now I did make this with a spacer to go behind it. That's fine. So let's do that. I'll just grab the spacer. Right, that's got it on there now, nice and locked in place, nice and tight. So what I need to do now is reduce the OD of this washer. I'm not quite sure how much, just give me a moment, I'll check. So the OD of the bore is what I'm after. That is 20 mil, that's quite handy. And the OD of this currently is 29.5. So I've got to take approximately 9.5 mil off it. So let's give this a whirl. Okay, let's give that a quick measure, see how we're doing. Okay, so that is working. So I'm going to just truck on through this and then bring you back when we're down to size. Having machined it now, just need to lap the bottom of it, which is a little bit rough on the edge there. Just gonna. I did hit it with a chamfer in the lathe. Unfortunately, I couldn't quite get my tool in properly at the back to cut a proper one. So just gonna make use of my little homemade lapping plate here and just tidy that up on the back. So. Well, that's cleaned that up beautifully. That's all it needed, just a little bit like that, just to knock all the edges off. So that's nice and smooth to the touch. That's fantastic. So that is the washer now all done to size, which is a big part of it. Let me just put my surface plate in quotation marks away, rather a lapping plate rather. It's amazing what you can get as a bargain on eBay these days, isn't it? You know, all those times ago, you know, not too long ago, you'd have to pay, you know, hundreds of thousands for a precision lapping plate like that. But, you know, these days on eBay, it's amazing what you can find. I jest, obviously. It's just a piece of glass plate that's for a 3D printer bed. So if anyone's wondering, you can make a wonderful, very nice flat plate for doing lapping on using a 3D printer glass bed. You can get them on eBay really cheap. I think that one was like a tenner delivered. So it's that works out quite nicely. So now that I've got that bit done, I now have to make a little spacer that will go inside the bore to hold the rod centralised in the bore. So let me cut off a piece of angle aluminium that not angle aluminium, aluminium bar rather. Cool, blimey, it wouldn't work very well with angle aluminium, would it? Get a piece of aluminium bar and I'll cut it up and bring you back once again over at the lathe. Right, this is going to be the spacer inside the actual tail of the headstock, as it were. The tail stock of the headstock. That doesn't really make sense, but you know what I mean. Right, first of all, I've just sawn this off, so let's start by facing that off to length, shall we? So let's make a start on that. That's beautiful. Right, what I need to do now is, now that I've got both ends are already faced, the other one was already, I just need to move this out now so I've got a hole to chuck it, but then can turn it its diameter down to the right size to fit in the back of the spindle. So let me do a few quick measurements so that I know I've got enough to play with, and I'll bring you right back. Right, let's see about taking down this diameter. I've used a set of spring calipers to get me to the dimension that I need, or roughly, so I can then polish it to exactly the right size to be a nice sliding fit in the back end here. So let's give this a little go, shall we? Let's just stop that and I'll clear the chips away. Keep catching the camera, sorry. It's the first step of professional YouTubeism. Make sure to always hit the camera. That way then you make sure that everybody knows that you are definitely a professional at this. As you can see, got quite a long way to go. Let's have at it, shall we? So, right, next step then is to drill through it and tap it. M10. Let's do that. Beautiful. Now hopefully that should be a nice 9.5mm hole through that. All things, if everything went well. Push the drill bit back. Right, let's give that a quick little measure, shall we? See if it actually did what I was wanting it to. .5, spot on. That's exactly what I was after. So now that means I can have a put an M10 10mm tap in there, because I don't need this thread to be super duper tight, you see. So it's time now to run a tap through that. Now I'm going to do this with the lathe off and do it by hand, and I'm going to just start it here in the lathe and then continue it over at the bench, because I don't have a dead centre, a spring-loaded tap follower yet. That's in the upcoming projects list. I promise. That will be something to follow. That will be a follow-up video at some point. Will be a spring-loaded tap follower. I certainly hope so. Anyway, I want one. I need one. They are incredibly useful. So let me get the old tap and get it all ready to rock and roll, shall we? Right, there we go. That's fantastic. It's got a nice thread in there. I like that Fred. It's a lovely Fred, that. Good old Fred. I like Fred. Fred's a good guy. That is smashing, that. So, oh, I keep catching the camera, guys. This is a new setup over here, obviously, for me, because I don't usually have... this is the first time using this lathe in earnest in a video, so... using it around the camera is proving to be a little challenging, but don't worry. It'll get better as time goes on, guys, I promise. I do promise. So, next step. Now I've got that done, next step basically is to cut it off. Now I haven't got a parting off tool. That's the one thing I'm missing, is the parting off tool. So I'm going to whip this out, pop it over in a vise and cut it off the old fashioned way. And then I'll bring you back when I do the test fit in the ball at the back. And there we have it. I decided in the finish to do what I was thinking of doing and leaving this and just turning this down a bit. Enough so that now it has a nice big register, and though that fits in the bore beautifully. And this then also now will act like a jam. It'll act like a jam nut, so that I can actually then make sure I can't over tighten this in the collet, which is quite nice. So I'm quite happy with that as a drawbar. There you go. There's the can't quite get it in frame. There we go. There's the full length of the drawbar. Time to see if it fits, shall we? So first thing I need to do is close the door, and then I need to take the chuck off. So just let me take the chuck off and I'll bring you back. Okay. One drawbar in the back. That fits in nicely. That's now tight into there. So that's amazing. So that's fantastic. That's working as expected. Once again, I'll grab my 5mm drill bit as the shank. I'll pop that in there. I can bring that there like that. And I can loosen off the lock nut. I can simply tighten this down. Seems to be working. That seems to have tightened on there rather nicely. Not quite tight enough yet though, because I can still move that. Let me try something. I think what may need to happen is it might have to be I might have to use this without the change wheel cover on, which I know you're not supposed to. I know it's not a good thing to do. However, I am planning on fitting this lathe with an electronic lead screw, which will mean there will be no gears in here to worry about, which would be the bonus. So yeah, when I'm using it in collet mode, I can just take the this back a bit, then I can tighten that into there. Lock that into the collet. Grab the drill bit that I'm planning on using as a thing. I can then pull that back in. I can bring the aluminium piece in, and then I can just tighten that down. It also then allows me to tighten it enough like that, so with my hand. And what I see, I don't need an iron grip, or do I? This might not work anyway as I was intending, guys, which is sad. I might still have to end up cutting this off, sadly. Yes, it doesn't work the way I was intending it to. So, as nice as my idea was, this isn't going to work. I'm still going to have to just cut this off and use this as just a spacer inside the bore, sadly. It was a good idea, but it didn't work out, sadly. So, unless I was to put 2 flats in this, but then also this hasn't got a very deep thread in it because I didn't need it to be. So actually, no. I'm just going to take this over to the vise, cut this off, and then just flatten the end off on this. Probably just using some sandpaper or a file, because I don't need to faff about facing it off again in a chuck. The only reason I faced this off nice was to make it so it got a nice seating surface, but oh well. A little bit disappointed that I can't do that, but what I'll do then is I'll cut this off and bring you back for final fit. There we go. It's got that on the shaft now. So now what I do is I can now slide that in there to engages. I'm going to back that off a little bit. Then I'm just going to screw this into the bore, into the back of the collet rather. I can screw that in a bit further. Then I can screw through it. Actually, I've been a dork. Screw that in a bit so it's inside the bore to start with. Then I can screw that in. It remains in the same place in the back here to locate it still. And I can take my stainless hardware, put that there. I can get my nut. Then I can get the nut to run central like that. Get my spanner. I can lock that in just nicely. So now if I remove the spindle lock, it turns beautifully. I don't know if you can see, but there's basically there's not much wobble on the end of that shaft now. There's a little bit, but not enough to worry about now. That's amazing. That is fantastic, that is. So let's just get this back to the... So it's locked again. Then I can loosen that like that, and then I can just lightly tap the thing out. Out comes the drill, and then I can remove the collet, change the collet size. It's a bit of a long thread, but then I can take it out. I can change my collet for a different one. Or something else that I have is an ER32 collet chuck set that uses a Morse taper. So you can use that now, which is fantastic. So let me just grab that. And right here I have an ER32 collet chuck with a 10mm drawbar. So I can slide that in there. I can seat that back in there like that. And lock that in there, bring up my lock nut, lock that in there, and then I can tighten up that taper. And now, if I just move you over here, I now have an ER32 collet chuck ready to go. That would now be nice. So it's much easier to change collets as well then than using the tapered ones, using the Morse taper ones. Because this obviously you change it all from using the ER collet nut here instead. So you can use that. You use that instead, obviously, to hold the collets in, to hold them into the taper in there. That is spiffing. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Hopefully it's not too long. I should be able to speed up some of the clips in editing if I'm fancy enough. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to use that now. I've been after a collet chuck for any of my lathes ever since I first saw that they were a thing. So yeah, I'm interested to see as well how well this holds up, which is the collet chuck. I got it from RDG Tools through eBay. It'd be interesting to see how it does, because sometimes their stuff can be a bit of a lottery. Could be that the collets are a bit shite, in which case I'll just have to look for some better quality ones. I mean, after all, they are straight from the golden shores of China, so we'll just have to suck it and see, I guess. Well, I have got a lot of cleaning up to do because there's a lot of aluminium everywhere, so I will get on and do that while you guys enjoy the rest of the rest of whatever time it is you're watching this at. Thank you again for watching. Stay safe, everyone. Stay safe, everyone. Good night. Catch you next time.